So at this point on the channel, I've looked at Siege Omega Supreme, who was pretty big. We've looked at my personal Omega Supreme, Wei Jiang's Ultimate Guard, who was pretty big. I've talked about a little bit Terminus Giganticus and Gabriel. Granted, unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to actually review them. And we've looked at an itty-bitty, teeny-weeny version of Omega Supreme. Well, Mech Fans Toys brings us something kind of in the middle with their big dragon. And this guy almost has endless things and pieces and configurations to explore. And we're going to dive into all of it in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you are at it, man, please hit that notification bell because it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. It helps me out a ton. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, and the Autobot family. Have a look for me everywhere across social media, and this is Mech Fans Toys' Big Dragon. And he is an impressive, about leader-ish, traditional leader-ish size class offering of Omega Supreme. Now, in here I currently have an alternate tank torso headpiece. There's a stock one that comes with him. I think this is the alternate one. We'll see both of them later on. The only things that I kind of want to note at this point is, naturally, this guy's not tight in size, but he is a respectable size. He has had a couple of repaints, and it's a spectacular mold that can do so many things. Some of those things excellent, some of those things kind of questionable. But we're going to cover all of it, the whole shebang, baby, when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And you know what, man? In my day, I've looked at an awful lot of Omega Supremes. I've looked at big ones, being Siege and, of course, Wei Jiang's Ultimate Guard. And I've looked at itty-bitty, teeny-weeny ones. Well, one itty-bitty, teeny-weeny one being the Mini Sentry. And this guy's like a middle-of-the-road size one. And he comes with a ton of accessories, a ton of things to explore and discover. There's so much that they tried to add here to give him almost endless versatility that it's a little bit mind-blowing, and we're going to go through it all, but we're going to start things off first and take a look at his instructions. And as the name would logically suggest, the instructions are quite big. They're bright, they're colorful, they're mostly clear, they're not bad, but there's a lot here to discover, man. And I'm just going to get this out of the way right away because I really don't want to spend time on it because I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm being realistic. There's a whole bunch of extra little pieces in a baggie here and a whole bunch of extra little pieces in a baggie here. They are extra pieces for what's inside these two blocks. Now, I already looked at one of these blocks as it came with their version of Shockwave, Laser Wave, and inside that there was this little mech suit. These are a little bit different. If we open these ones up, like this, and like this, we roll this out and we roll this out. We can just take those out of the way. They're nicely molded. They're exactly the same as any of these other blocks. They're little molded blocks. There's very little reference made to these in the instructions. This is a little tank lad. This is a little tank lad. The pieces on them can move and come apart, and you can use those other bits and pieces and put them in the holes and the slots that are here. It's very akin to the piece. You know what? These are like Siege weaponizers, or Earthrise weaponizers, I guess, but I'm really thinking of the Siege ones where you can take them apart and they can go mounted on to other characters. In this case, we don't have little mech suits. What happens here, according to the instructions, is that these pieces can, I guess we'll just do that. These pieces can come apart into different configurations. We can use all the little doodads and knickknacks that are in the little baggie here and the little baggie here. And these actually go attached to other mech suits, like the one that came with Laser Wave, like the ones that come with their versions of Huffer and Pipes, for example. So these are kind of like armor for the little Diaclone-inspired mech suits. I guess they're fine. They're gunmetal gray. I'm not going to use them, but if you're into them, then cool, I guess. These are fairly, I'm not going to say fragile. They're not fragile, but like, it doesn't take a whole lot to get these to kind of come apart. That's all. They're just, I don't know. Maybe they work better as armor. I'm going to point this out now because it makes sense to point this out now. This is the torso and headpiece that comes stock with this guy. And it's all right. It rolls fine. Does it even roll? Or is it, nah, I think I'm just pushing it. Yeah, I think I'm just pushing it, but like, it feels like it's rolling. This whole head can turn around. This can go up and down. But you'll notice that what we have is we have a yellow covering for his face, and his face is inside. Fine, no problem. But if you got my understanding, and I could be mistaken about this, somebody can let me know, there's an alternative to this. I don't think it came in package with Dragon. My understanding is that it comes in the package with the itty bitty mini sentry, and it's an alternate torso and headpiece. I have that put in. I like it better, to be honest with you, but to each their own. We'll kind of see both of them shortly. You can decide for yourself. Neither of them are bad. They're both quintessentially Omega Supreme. And finally, we have two of these huge cannons that really are painted nicely with silver and gold. There's definitely more to them than just being blasters, but like, they don't feel like they fit with this guy. Like, they don't feel like they're supposed to be there, but I'm not going to complain about having them, baby. And look at that adorable family photo. You have the Big Daddy being Wei Jiang's Ultima Guard. Next to him, we do have the subject of this then we have the mini sentry way down on the far end. He's like the baby with his big brother and his dad. So just how big is Dragon? He clocks in roughly at about the size of a traditional leader class character like, I don't know, Titan's Return Blaster, or Titan's Return Soundwave, or Power of the Prime's Optimus Prime, or Rodimus Prime, or Rodimus Unicronus. He's about the height of those guys. He feels more dense, but he looks more slender, if that makes any sense. So he's about a leader class size. The coloration for the guy, it's really good actually. A solid 9.75. It's near on perfect. I mean, we have the chest looking the way it's supposed to look. In terms of his coloration, I don't know, it's pretty close, it's pretty accurate. I'm going to say a solid 9.75. We have his wings, we have the yellow on his shins and his shoulders and his chest pieces, mostly gray on his body. We are missing yellow on the inner side of his body. That should be yellow by rights. The orange is on his claw, that's great. There's not much here to complain about. Personally, when I see this part of the chest, I wish it was flat, because though the G1 release had that sort of chest, the G1 cartoon had like a flat piece there. And I don't know, I guess I'm a stickler for the animation, but like 9.75, you look at this, you know it's Omega Supreme. The head, in terms of articulation, it goes left, it goes right. Again, this is the alternate. We'll look at that closer in a little bit. It goes left and right. Doesn't really go up any, but it can kind of get up to look down a little bit, which makes sense because you would want Omega Supreme to be able to look down. The shoulders come out to the side. Soft ratchet. The wings here kind of get in the way, but by rights the shoulder can go all the way around. We have a bicep swivel. We have just shy of 90 degrees at the elbow, like 89 degrees at the elbow. These all move at one hinge at the base. I think that's it. No, I stand corrected. I think there might be, there's another hinge partway up each of these fingers, I suppose. So two hinges in each one. There you go. Do we have a waist? We do have a waist. Beautiful. We have the ability for the leg to go all the way out to the side. Nice splits all the way out to the side. Can go all the way forward. Can go all the way back. Thigh swivel built inside. You don't see it built inside. That's nice. Little under 90 degrees at the knee. Probably 85 degrees. I wish that was a little deeper, but you know, it's all right. Little ankle tilt. And not really anything forward and back. It's pretty good. Like I said, I wish that the knee had, oh no. I wish that the knee had a little bit more. Maybe I can slot this back in. That doesn't want to go in. I wish the knee had a little bit more range than it has. Nevertheless, I'm going to say that the knee is a minor gripe. Overall, the articulation is pretty good. You can get it some dynamic poses. Yes, I knocked out one of his wings, but solid 8. Solid 8. 9.75 and an 8. This guy's getting, let's make it easy. Let's say the guy's getting a 9. No, I'm not even going to pretend that this guy isn't a whole ton of parts forming, because he really is. And I did put his wing back in because I wanted to start things off really as proper as I could. This is him complete all together. We're going to just stand the guy up and I'm going to turn him around and we take these wing pieces out. Each wing has a peg that goes into this peg hole, and then there are sections down bottom here that slot in right there. That's on both sides, so we can take that off. Naturally, those pieces will end up opening out and flattening out because they're going to be part of our track a little bit later. Then we can turn the guy around and we can remove those two lower arms. Of course, they're going to just slot together to give us our shuttle later on. Next up, we can remove the arms up top and lay those to the side. We can next pull out, I believe we pull out on the shin. Yeah, we pull out here on the shin and the shin. By the way, I love that we have this detail in here, like, wow. And we split that and take off the lower leg. Split it, take off the lower leg, and now the guy is, you know, short. I thought I'd come in closer since he's gotten smaller. I got his legs put behind him. That's part of the transformation again for later. For now, we need to bring the front of his chest down so that we can get the tank out. So we bring that down. That lets us take the tank piece out. And honestly, we can leave that down for now, if that's what you want to do. I mean, if you don't, I mean, you can close it back up. It kind of doesn't matter. These, I forgot to show, they can open up as well and give him like shoulder blasters. But really, at this point, this whole section, if I can do it, is supposed to flip back. Pardon the little cut there, but I had trouble untabbing this. It's quite tight. It comes back, and then these two pieces, they open out like that, and that's kind of like your core, like base section, basically. By the way, here are the two alternate tank head torso pieces. They're mostly the same. You know, they're shaped mostly the same, but the heads and the faces are quite different. I like the clear myself, but that's just me. When they are tanks, they look exactly the same. See, two little tank lads. From this point onward, I'm just going to use the one that I prefer. Anyway, here we have the main body base again. We took the arms that we took off earlier, we bent them at the elbow and plugged them back in here on the sides. You know, it looks good. They're supposed to be aimed in like this. By the way, I love the metallic sheen of that red. At this point, we could take our shuttle and it locks in right there. So now we kind of have the main part of the base together. What about that track though? Well, if you will recall, we simply opened the front of the leg, opened out the leg. This is the foot. And really what we're going to be doing this time around is turning it over. This is now what we have. Underneath here, we have a little rectangular slot on this end and on the other end. That little rectangular slot is going to accommodate these rectangular tabs. So we're going to lay this here, we're going to bring this over, and we're going to slot the rectangular tab into that hole. We're going to do the same on this side, and then of course we're going to do the same with the other leg piece and the other track piece, so that we get a nice track in the end that looks like this. Were you eagle-eyed enough a moment ago to notice that I was actually putting the track on incorrectly? How do I know I was doing it incorrectly? Because these yellow pieces here and here should be facing out, not in. There's not enough room if they're facing in. They face out. But nevertheless, this is what the track looks like when it's all put together. And with that being the case, we can bring in our base piece. We can take our tank lad and put him on the track, and he actually fits on the track pretty well. And in the end, we have our entire base. Let me just make sure it's all on screen. Now, of course, this is only one thing that you can do with this. You always have the option of doing other things. I love this base configuration. This is, again, quintessentially Omega Supreme, but there's things that we can do, at least with the main base itself. So we're going to get rid of the tracks, we're going to get rid of the tank for now. Now, that brings us to just the base. And we can take the base and we can kind of come over on this side of it and bring down the chest, which you could have already had done anyway if you were inclined. And then we can bring in one of these box things, and using a peg hole right there, we can actually peg this in there like that, and we can do the same on the other side. And we're coming along with another base mode. You can take these and they can turn out and turn out. Let me put this back up. If you wanted to use some of those little accessories that were in the baggies that I showed you earlier, this is a good time to be able to do it and plug it in little bits and pieces and places, if you're so inclined. Now, again, that's not all you can do. You can remove these, and we get this weird crawling mode thing. So you can remove that and remove that and get those out of the way. You can then close this piece up and remove the top of the shuttle, I suppose. You take these and bring them down. Take this and bring it down in behind. This is getting weird. This is where things here begin to get really, really strange. We're going to come around here and we're going to close these up. Just like that. And then we're going to come here and we're going to bring those out. And you need to sort of take these pieces and I guess turn it like that is the easiest way. And bring it down. Don't nip your finger in it like I just did. And bring it down like that. I kid you not. If you're so inclined, at this point you could take one of these pieces and apparently slot it in here, but Yeah, like that. And of course, I guess do it on the other side as well. These were those little pieces on one of those boxes. I don't know how I feel about this, but you can, I don't know. I don't know. This is just getting weirder and weirder. Next, you can kind of stand them up a little bit here. Like, let's see if I can do this. Like, kind of like that. Oh man. Let me just readjust things here a little bit. I don't feel like I'd call this good. We come here, we open this up, and then we take those two blasters and they slot in apparently here on the side in here, but I don't know if it really fits. Hold on. Ah, yes indeed, they do fit in there. You go in the slot and then you push it down. So that in the end it looks like this. Ah yes, good old Omega Supreme. But we're not done yet. I almost wish we were, but we're not done yet. Things only get stranger from here, I assure you. We're going to take the blasters off of him, and before we do anything with the body, we're going to do something with the blasters to kind of get them sorted and salted out of the way for later. I said earlier that there was more here than first appears, and indeed there is. We take this and we can open that out, but before we do that, we should come how is it that this there, open that out all the way, and then we should be able to, though it's not doing it right now, there we go, we should be able to bring out a fist, yes, a fist, and then we bend this around, and now we have an arm and a blaster thing. Do you think this is as weird as I do? And I swear to you, we're not done yet. Okay, so now that we're here, we remove that piece and take it out of the way for now. We turn this around. If you haven't oriented the legs this way, do so. If you're wondering how they are, they're folded back from here like they always were underneath. We're using the arms now to kind of help us to stay situated. Actually, the elbows should, I guess they should have stayed bent that way, but they should go turned around, not faced out. They should be that way instead. We can also come here and open up those sections as well. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I really, really, really do. The two arm pieces, they will go back together if they weren't together already. And by the way, under one, like there's these bronze cylinders up here. Under one of the cylinders, there's a little tiny piece that comes out. I guess it's supposed to be like if you're boarding the shuttle, like that's where you would board the shuttle from. But it's only a little tiny piece, easy to forget, easy to not even notice that it's there, but it is there. We're going to incorporate this in just a couple of moments. In the meantime, what we do is we take one of those leg pieces and we fit it in there like that, and then we can put the shuttle on like that. I guess if you're even inclined, the instructions show this, you can also attach the two little weird box things to the side to give this thing more mass. And you can even have your little tank boy patrol thing. And holy moly, there's another configuration. This reminds me kind of something like the configuration that you get with the like Energon Omega Supreme. So like we have the G1 Omega configuration and one that sort of homages that. Now that's not the only way that that's sort of homaged. We do have this other weird one that they don't really give you directions to get to, but I'm just going to show you the mode because we've done enough converting. And then we have this, and if you've seen the, like, I'm going to call it train mode of the Energon Omega Supreme. Like the back end where his arm is kind of looks like a cannon-y sort of transport like this. That's what this puts me in the mind of. Now, to be fair, this is actually intended to be like I guess like a rocket embankment that would be manned by one of those weird little mech suit things. If you're not into the little weird mech suit things, then this mode probably doesn't mean anything to you. And last, finally, but certainly not least, and that's right, last but not least, we got whatever the hell this monstrosity is. It's not quite robot mode, it's not quite an alt mode. The idea is that one of those weird little mech things would go in the body cavity up here where the tank part usually goes to make his upper body, and I guess he'd man this battle thing. It's not for me. I don't like stylizations like this, but I can't argue with the fact that it does add a certain measure of versatility and creativeness. So after all of that freaking craziness, what's the final verdict here? Well, you know, we already said what his coloration was. It's almost perfect. We said the articulation was pretty fantastic. The knees could be a little bit deeper, but still pretty great. The transformation, despite all those crazy modes, it's simple. Now, granted, there's a ton of parts forming here, so you have to be cool with that. If you don't like parts forming, then his multiple transformations are a big fat zero for you. I love it. I love everything that this guy can do. Now, to be fair, some of it's not for me, and except for this, I would never, ever, ever do it again if this was mine. I'm going to say 10. Honestly, there's so much to discover and explore with this guy that it's almost endless. Overall score has to be a solid 9. The materials feel fantastic. The plastic feels robust. The ratchets and tolerances generally feel excellent. I'm finding it hard to find something not to praise this guy for. Overall, a very strong 9. And here we are once again, and here he is, and okay, I don't even know where to start with my comments here. In terms of coloration, like, he's fantastic. It's quintessentially Omega Supreme. Yes, there's a couple of minor things that certain fans might like the yellow on the side. Maybe they would want a flat chest. Maybe they wouldn't. But, like, what's done here is done so very well. Going to his traditional kind of G1 alt mode is pretty easy, pretty intuitive for the most part. Pretty enjoyable and gives a very satisfying base mode in the end. A couple of the modes sort of harken to me to Energon Omega Supreme. I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but I can see vaguely the similarity, and I like that nod. And then we have a couple of, I'm going to call them battle configurations, that are intended to work with the gimmick that Mech Fans Toys has going on with the little Diaclone guys and the little Diaclone, I don't know what you call them, like the little mechs. This guy comes with 2 of those weird boxes. There's not actual mechs per se in it, but 2 kind of little cannons that can come apart into a ton of different little pieces and go armored up on the little mechs. Very akin to what, as I said, Siege did with their weaponizer gimmick. It's a good gimmick if you're into that. I don't know how many people will be. I think most people would get this squarely for a version of Omega Supreme. And you know what? He works great with size classes like Legends. He would be a terrific Omega to work with size classes like New Age, which are like even smaller. He definitely has a place to go in the collection of the right type of collector. I don't know if I mentioned he has a waist when I went through articulation, but he has a waist. There's nothing here really to dislike. The plastic feels excellent, feels very robust. The colors are great. The transformations, none of them are particularly hard. They're just all over the map. If you don't like parts forming, this dude's so not going to be for you. But to be fair, if you don't like parts forming, I don't think any Omega is for you, really. He is excellent. He is absolutely excellent. If you're okay with the size and you've been wondering, should I get him or one of his repaints? If you're okay with the size, there's absolutely no reason not to. I think you're going to be blown away by how much there is to explore with this guy, and by how good all of the ratchets and the joints and the tolerances feel, and how robust the plastic feels. He is a winner right across the board. Let me know what you think about this guy. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you disagree, what is it that you dislike about him? I appreciate you coming by, give me some of your extremely valuable time, as always. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Come back, have some fun with us, man. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, there is a donate link down in the description. Don't forget, somehow, some way, each and every day, you very much do make a difference. Please, now, make smart choices for you and for everyone around you, and I look forward, man, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, man, right here inside the videos.